Good afternoon to you, active viewers. You're welcome to Active Citizens. And the show this afternoon is ACD Hot. Before we proceed, I know we've missed a damsel right here, beside me, and she went on a few hours sabbatical leave, and we are glad that she's back and she's ready to, give it to us hot on this table. Please give it up for Sharon and Chuku.
Hi, Kwara. Oh, what an intro. Thank you very much. I missed you guys this morning.
Yes, we missed you so much. But we're glad to have you back.
Yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, and we still have an interesting analyst and also an active citizens joining us today in the person of Clifford Okunzowa. Good afternoon, Clifford.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing this afternoon? Are you active?
We are good. Just a raining weather, but it's all good.
Okay, good to hear. Let's move over to the stories we have for this afternoon on ACD Hot. 2 stories shaking Nigeria. In America, President Tinubu is fighting to keep his FBI and DEA files under lock and key. And back home in Kwara, gunmen stormed the home of an APC chairman, snatching his wife and daughter in the dead of night. Privacy batters abroad, insecurity batters at home. Nigerians' trust in leadership is on trial. So these are the stories that I would want us to, unpack for this afternoon. I mean, in Washington, D.C., Tinubu's lawyers say activist Aaron Greenspan's FOIA request is nothing but a political, witch hunt. Prior to that, this man, Greenspan, has actually, kind of sent a request that, Tinubu's files be, made open, that he wants to know about, Tinubu's life, the life he has lived probably in, Colombia. So it's more like out in the open, and everybody, it has garnered a lot of, comments and reactions from, social media platforms and the rest of them. And I just want to take your take on this particular matter, Sharon. What do you make of this?
I think it's funny that you have nothing to hide. You claim you have nothing to hide, but we see you here fighting with every power that is disposable to you in order to protect this document that you say it is not for public knowledge, that it's not for the good of Nigerians, but it would instead be used as a political tool to aid opposition parties. Whereas the same president from the same APC, they are witch hunting other major political party players in different opposition parties, from the ADC to the PDP, even LP. As long as you are in an opposition party, they are coming after you. The other day, we saw that El-Rufai was summoned by the EFCC for questioning. We've seen even Atiku as well go to answer this case. We've seen former governors that have now left the APC party to come join the ADC, most especially that are being questioned now. So my particular question is to the president. If you have nothing to hide, then let us see what the documents say.
Exactly. If you have nothing to hide, I mean, let's open the book and see what the book says. Moving over to you, Clifford. Are you there? Clifford, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, under the US law, does Tinubu have a strong case to block the release of his FBI and DEA files on grounds of privacy? Do you think he has any right to obstruct that?
Well, it all depends. It all depends on the content. You understand?
Yeah.
In a situation, unless if it is your nude, he can hide his nude. But if the case that involves drug trafficking, money laundering, and all of that, I think the public interest would outweigh that of whoever the person might be, even if it's a president.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Speaking of, public, Sharon, I wanted to ask you, where is the line between a public's right to privacy and the public's right to know, especially when that figure is a sitting president?
Thank you for that question. You know, there is something that the presidency is claiming and his team, especially his legal representative, is claiming. They are saying that all these documents that they are asking for, that all of these things happened before he became a public figure. So because it happened before he was a public figure, it shouldn't concern Nigerians. But I would have us know that even for campaigning, when you want to campaign for a particular seat or a position, your past records can either aid or mar your chances of winning. Now, we are talking about a sitting president. It is even very questionable if there are criminal records that are available, because he's not even supposed, we're not supposed to be having this discussion. We are talking about the #1 citizen of the country who is supposed to uphold law and order. So we are not supposed to be having the back and forth of whether you have FBI. What is the president of Nigeria looking for in FBI records if it's not a criminal case?
Exactly.
What are we looking for there? This is not even, it's not supposed to have happened initially, but this is where we found ourselves in. And I just think that at the end of the day, you can't come and tell us as Nigerians that because this happened prior to you taking up the seat as president, that we have no right to know. And they also said that the person, that's the Gavson that is requesting for these files, that he's requesting for it for his profit website, just so that he can post and publish this record on his website and get paid for it. So now, whether he wants to get paid for it or not, the #1 thing there is that this man is a Nigerian first, and we as Nigerians are now interested. We've always been interested in this conversation. This has to do with the #1 citizen of the country, who the other day we saw that is suing, not suing, they wrote to X that Sowore should take down the comment that they made calling him a criminal. So I just think that if all is actually clear, this is going to be the best opportunity for him to come out and say, okay, no problem, you want to check records, then go ahead. He should even aid us in understanding this particular situation so it doesn't look shady. But now it's looking really shady.
Okay, talking on that, I think you just brought to my attention about, Sowore's case, them telling them to, telling the US to bring down his
saying that that word criminal is an offensive word,
and his hate speech. And it brings me to asking this question. I mean, the government have this attribute of always fighting criticism, and I am led to asking, I mean, what does this case reveal about Tinubu's approach to criticism? Do you think that he's actually being defensive or smart legally, or is this a legal strategy? Clifford, can you attempt that?
Okay, I think firstly, him being the president should know that he's not representing himself alone, but he's representing the entire country and all of its citizens. So in a case like this, I can tell you that it's very open, it's very obvious that he's trying to be defensive in order to block his past record. Firstly, for someone like me, if I have a bad record, I can't boldly tell you, I have this bad record, please, let's do away with it all. It's left for the citizen to make their choice. But in a case of you doing something and you are trying to block it, it's allegedly. So we cannot actually say if it's right or wrong. But whatever the case might be, if his intentions are pure for the country, if his intentions are pure for the citizen, I think there's no need for him trying to be defensive. He's trying to block all of his record. If he has a good record, then be very plain to open it.
Speaking on that same transparency and credibility, it's more like there's a blurry line between being transparent and trying to be secretive about things that has to do with this leaders. And I wanted to ask this question. I mean, how might this legal battle in Washington affect Tinubu's image and credibility back home in Nigeria? I mean, there are a lot of reactions on X and the rest of them. What do you think?
There were some comments that I was able to come across on X, and most of those comments were hinting at the fact that, oh, this is the same president that came out in Brazil to say that there is no more corruption. This is the same person that came out to antagonize, not directly, but through parties and the rest, to antagonize people who they believe have been involved in fraudulent activities. And this is somebody that says that he has come to restore the dignity of Nigeria on a global scale. Now, for somebody as this, who has such a mandate, and he is traveling, visiting over 40 countries in less than 2 years, from here to here, and saying that all of these appearances is to bring a certain image about Nigeria as a country that has integrity and dignity. Now, for a case like this, I think it would negatively, if it's not even I think, it is going to negatively affect the perception of Nigerians and bring the attention towards this particular case, because this is the #1 citizen we're talking about here. And you know that before now, there has been speculations, rumors, even before he came into seat, he came into power, and people asking about his school records, going as far to Colombia, to the US to get these records. And now that we have seen this, I think this is something they need to act promptly. They need to act swiftly, because it is going to affect, it is already affecting the tone or the perspective that Nigeria has towards him currently.
Okay, so it's left for the president. If he feels that there is no skeleton in his cupboard, he should open up the cupboard. Let's see if there is a skeleton in his cupboard. But I wanted to ask, what are the risks of Nigerian political fights dragging U.S. courts into the mix? Clifford. I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. I really want to know the risk, this whole mix. Where does the U.S. stand in this whole thing, with this whole back and forth?
Okay, U.S., should I say now, they stand as a supreme legal aid at this point, because they will be able to make the documents that are not readily available at home. They will be able to make it available for the people at home. Now, Nigerians genuinely want to know the past record, you understand, so that they trust the person that is leading them, because whether you like it or not, there have been a lot of speculations, and it seems as if our legal practitioners over here, or the judge in Nigeria, aren't doing their work properly. So the last hope of every Nigerian is in the US, or is in the in the outside world. So we are expecting them to reveal something to us. We are not actually expecting negativity, because whether you like it or not, he's still the president of the Federal Republic, and the image he bears is the image of Nigeria. If it turns out negatively, then you can imagine the citizens of Nigeria outside the country, how it will affect their image, their working permit, and everything that concerns Nigeria. But if it turns out to be positive, of course, wherever you find Nigeria or hear of Nigeria, you'll be proud of your country. So we trust the U.S. to do a better job and give us the record of Mr. President.
I wanted to ask you the same thing now. If the U.S. should rule, in Nigerians' favor, that is the president's favor. What do you make of that? What do you think would happen? How do you think Nigerians will view it?
At the end of the day, not just for Nigerians, but for other political office holders in Nigeria who feel comfortable with getting away with certain things because nobody is going to hold them accountable. I agree with what Mr. Clifford just said, in the sense that this is the #1 citizen of Nigeria. And we already know how these countries, some of these countries, view Nigeria. When you go to the embassy, you go to the airport and you show your green passport, it is not the same way they will treat you that they will treat a US citizen. So that is already standing. But at the end of the day, there have been other African countries where their presidents or vice presidents or top political office holders have gone to jail for crimes that they committed while they were in office. And now we've seen people like the Osun State monarch, who was found guilty and imprisoned appropriately, the Simon Ekpa case, notable strong political office holders in Nigeria that have been judged, found guilty abroad, and punishments were meted out to them. Now, I'm just saying that at the end of the day, even though this is going to be a stain for the entire Nigerians, I just think that at the end of the day, we need this sort of wake-up call
Yeah.
Not just this is a rumor. I hope this is not true for the president, that he didn't involve himself in any drug trafficking case, as the case may be. But I'm saying that it will be a wake-up call for the entire Nigerian political leaders to wake up and know that there is repercussion when you siphon funds or when you engage in illegal activities.
Yeah, beautifully said. I think your comment on this is quite apt. But something just struck me, right? I'm kind of feeling that maybe there is, a political undertone. We already know that there's a lot of insecurity, the killing in Katsina that we discussed this morning, the killing in Borno, the, Tikad visitation, there is no corruption and the rest of it. And I'm left to ask this question. Do you think that this might actually be, a political distraction? Maybe as against 2027 or any form? Do you think there's anything like political distraction? I'm forwarding the question to you, Mr. Clifford. Can you attempt that?
There is a saying that clear conscience fears no accusation. You understand? So for a person like me, I don't see that as a political distraction. Sorry, I have to call somebody here. If you call Mr. I'm not advocating for anybody, but if you call Mr. Peter Obi, you discover that he will tell you, go and check. At the end of every statement, he says, go and check. So I don't see it as a political distraction. This is not something we should even be talking too long. You want to check, okay, take.
Yeah.
In the next 30 minutes, you are done with it. You'll get my point now. But it's when you have a guilty conscience, that's when you feel like this is a distraction. But like I earlier said, the right of the public outweighs that of personal interest. Let us know the person we are voting in 2027. So that's just all. It's never a political distraction. But if the opposition feels, or if Mr. President's aide feels that this is political distraction, then they should let the cat out of the basket and let's know what they are doing.
Exactly. Any final comments on this particular topic from you, Sharon, before we move over to the next topic?
You just said if this is a political distraction, leading to 2027. And if this is a political distraction, I encourage it. At the end of the day, it's only during this period that is going to lead to the 2027 elections that we can truly hold these politicians accountable. I'm not just talking about the president. I'm talking about other politicians who might be interested in different political positions. Because one thing that has been consistent with most of our political office holders is that during the time of election, they are more accessible. You have their ears. Anything you are asking for, they pay more attention to it. But it's as though when they get into power, they automatically forget and they start doing what they have in mind. So if this will get the attention of the right people, if this is going to spur discussions, if this is going to get reactions from the right people and get Nigerians to pay attention, because hey, we are the Nigerians they want to lead. Like Mr. Clifford rightfully said, we deserve to know who is in power, who is leading us, and where we are going to.
Exactly.
So I think that's all I'll say on that.
Exactly. It's quite apt. Nigerians need to know who is leading them and where we are headed towards for 2027. If you think that you're, clean, you're sparkling, I mean, let us see that there is no stain in your white garment. Let's move over to the story. While we are, talking about the chaos in the US, Colombia, and there is serious terror in Kwara State. I mean, a political, party, what's it called? Somebody that holds a title in politics, the wife was actually
the APC chairman.
Kidnapped. The APC chairman, he was kidnapped, and according to the story we read this afternoon, that the gunmen, they jumped over the fence and they fired some shots in the air, and after firing shots, I mean, some people were left in disarray, and at the end of the day, they made away with, they kidnapped the daughter of the APC chairman and the wife. So I wanted to ask this question: what does this abduction of an APC chairman's family tell us about the state of insecurity in Kwara State and across, Nigeria? Clifford.
Okay, thank you very much. The case of insecurity in Nigeria is a different topic on its own. Now, trying to be specific about that of Kwara, there's a saying, Idris Abdul Karim, that sang, say, which arm robber no wants money, and a political arm robber with that. So, we can't say, because currently, until the abductors or until the victims comes out and tell us, then we can finally deduce that this is actually what happened. Probably it could be a personal issue, probably he has an issue with somebody else. So we can't actually say if it's political, because by the time I went into details in it, I discovered that the person in question is not a local government chairman, neither a
from properties of people. I really want to know why is it that we can't actually bring these people on board and we're left between leaving it for, you know, local security operatives to, you know, tackle.
You know, yesterday we were having a conversation, and Mr. Daniel Sacramento said something, that security, the issue of security is not just for the government, it is for everybody. And if you look at the Kaduna state government, you look at the Zamfara state government, and some of these northeastern governors, they are all saying the same thing. The other day in Borno as well, during the attack, the recent attack, they said that these bandits, these terrorists, the Boko Haram, they came and they were attacking for hours. They were attacking for hours before any intervention whatsoever. It's the same situation now in Kwara. These guys came and were attacking for hours before they had intervention from security operatives. Now, what this tells us about the Nigerian army is that they are understaffed. They are really, really understaffed. And they are not, you know, they don't have the financial budget to fund them for the hiring of manpower, equipment, weapons, and all of that. And that is why when the Kaduna state governor came out to say, oh, that they are working hand in hand with communities, with locals, even as much, going as far as even hiring hunters and recruiting hunters as local vigilantes. What this says is that the community has now taken security into their hands. And yes, there's little or not much that they can do, seeing that they don't have the manpower, they don't have the money to be able to meet up to the level of these terrorists. But at the same time, they are making an effort. That's just because the Nigerian army is understaffed. And these situations, this story, the other day was in Borno, is in Zamfara. There's just, this is them waking up and saying they want to take care of their people by themselves instead of waiting on the government. So I think this is what is happening.
You know, it's quite sad that, I mean, communities have resorted to, you know, protecting their lives and their properties when, I mean, we have security operatives that are supposed to be properly funded to protect the lives and properties of people. But there are a lot of reactions, I mean, on X, that, you know, a lot of persons have actually made comments on this particular, you know, news story, and I'll take the comments. So Sylvester Edet Okun says, This is how it should be. Reward for supporting terrorist organization known as APC. Okay, this is a dark humor, man. Okay, J. Abu said, I thought his party said the country was safe. Oh, that's a good question. Noah said, this is good news.
How is it good
They
news?
are now kidnapping the right set of people. Thank you, kidnappers. Okay, that's quite...
No joy.
There's no joy. There's no joy. I mean, you could see that it's no longer about the leaders this time around. It's not just about the citizens this time around. It has trickled to the leaders. And I am still asking the question, if an ordinary, if a politician of such rank, this terror can actually, visit his own home. I mean, what's more of an ordinary citizen? It's quite sad. But moving forward, I mean, with police yet to issue an official statement, what does this silence say about communication and crisis management? Clifford, can you attend to that, please?
I'll borrow the words of Sharon. She said our security agency, they are understaffed. Let me tell you that after agriculture, the next thing that any nation should take very serious is security. If you know how much in North Korea, the US and other outside countries invest in security, in fact, you'll be one. Our security agency, they are understaffed, from the army to the DSS to the police, and even down to the local vigilante. Now, the silence of the police is because, in fact, they were taken unaware. You understand? At this point, they are dumbfounded because they can't have a trace on where to start from. That tells you a very long story. You understand? So I think it's high time that we do better, because even our local vigilantes, the ammunition they use, no, it's outdated. In terms of manpower, no, zero. So the silence of the police tells a lot, that even from the head to the bottom, I'll borrow the words of Mr. President, from top to bottom, nothing is working. Our security agency, nothing is working. We need to do well. We need to do well.
Yeah.
The government should look into this thing. Sorry for those who may be jubilating, probably because it affects somebody of APC or whatever. But insecurity, it's everybody's business.
Yes.
You understand? Security is everybody's business. It can affect anybody, whether that be PDP, APC, whatever political party or whatever tribe or religion you belong. It can affect anybody. It's a wake-up call for the government to do better. In our communities, let's do better. But for the silence of the police, I think the government should do better. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, when you were talking earlier, you mentioned something about that you don't know. When I asked your take on this particular matter, you were like that you're not even certain if this is maybe like politically, motivated. Maybe is an opposition that, is trying to, oppress the other opposition. And or I just wanted to ask Sharon, do you think this is politically motivated, or do you think that these are just criminal gangs that just need ransom?
If it's politically motivated, then they don't know who the big fishes are. You are going after the APC chairman in Kwara State. You are joking. You are not serious. But I just think at the end of the day, I don't know. I can't say for sure if this is politically motivated. I just think if I was a bandit, which I'm not, but if I was, I won't go for the APC chairman in Kwara State, the community chairman in Kwara State. So like Clifford said, I would want to agree that this might be a personal beef that the chairman has with some people, and they have now retaliated because, and Clifford also said something that about the army and the military being understaffed, and the reason the police are quiet is because they are dumbfounded. I want to remind us something that the Kaduna State governor said. He made a statement that he can end banditry and terrorism in Kaduna within 2 months. And the reason being that he knows where these people are. He knows where these kingpins are. Their hiding place. He sees them on his phone. But because he cannot give orders to the military, the Nigerian military, he's powerless. And he now said, with the information that he has, if he's given the power to release armed forces to these people, that insecurity will end. So with the police being silent, yes, it can be that they are overwhelmed. I don't argue that. I'm just saying that if this is a political game, if this is something that would lead to a bigger picture that we can't currently see now, maybe they are aware and they are just keeping quiet because of that. I don't think, how will something of that nature be happening and the police will not know? How big is the village that happened? How big was the community that happened? And this thing went on for hours and the police did not know. Then what is now the need for having police officers in a particular community? I just think at the end of the day, they know what they are doing.
Oh, just think at the end of the day, Sharon thinks at the end of the day, they know what they are doing. But you could see that these stories, I mean, from US to the villages, and the citizens of Nigeria are caught in between. And it's quite sad that every single time we, require or we seek clarification from these leaders, but every single time they keep, is either they feign ignorance or they actually, try to oppress the people, I mean, and it's quite, alarming and quite sad to listen to every single time or to talk about every single time. But thank you so much, Sharon and Chukwu.
You're welcome.
And Clifford for doing this with me as the hot and active citizens. It's quite beautiful having you guys here dissecting these issues in public. Thank you so much, Clifford. And to our VVIP, thank you so much for always joining us every single time that we sit on this table to dissect issues happening around the world in Nigeria. It is quite, commendable. I commend every single one of you. If you have not commented, I promise you, you're definitely wrong. And you're always wrong anytime you don't comment on our posts. If you have not shared, you are totally wrong. Please start sharing to your friends, to your family, and your loved ones. And if you are yet to follow us, please start clicking in your follow button and make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms at Active Citizens. And on Facebook, you can find me at Oji Sophia, and on Instagram you can find me at Miss Alex. Sharon, where can they find
at
you?
Sharon and Mchuku on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, Clifford, what about you?
Just God's in chastity. Then on TikTok, Clifford Okunzuwa. Instagram, Clifford Okunzuwa.
Okay, thank you so much, viewers, and thank you so much, my analyst and my co-host Sharon N.M. Chukwu and Clifford Okunzowa. Till we see you this evening for us. Oh, why am I saying that today?
You don't want to
I don't want it to end, but yes, it has to end. We'll see you in the evening for the evening Parliament on Active Citizens. Bye for now.